Hi, welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. I'm your host, Brian Koval. Before we get started, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you want to see me play your favorite deck or your spicy brew on the channel, I take donation deck lists. I'll do a deck tech, play a full Magic Online League, and help tune your list. If that sounds good, check out my contact info. It's in the video description below. Now let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to another BoshNRoll video. I'm playing Legacy, and this is part 2 of my brewing contest. So, the video I released yesterday, the Aminatu Miracles list, that was the winner of my brew contest sponsored by Negator77 on the channel. But the decks were so sweet that I'm going to do a second one. This was the runner-up in that contest, and I can't leave it on the shelf, so I'm going to play this one as well. This is OtterBox, named after Lutri the Spellchaser, who is a companion, where it can be your companion if each non-land card in your starting deck has a different name. But wait, you cry. Lutri's in the main deck, that's not where companions go. There is a clever thing that the builder of this deck did, which is they're playing 4 Force of Will in the main to fight the combo decks, and then in all the fair matchups, you board out Lutri and 3 of the forces, and then you replace the forces with more efficient counterspells like Pyroblast, Red Blast, etc. And then you also get Lutri as a companion. So it is not a game 1 companion deck, but it is a game 2 and 3 companion deck in certain matchups, which is pretty cool. We've seen a lot of decks in Modern especially start as Lurrus decks, but then after board, they board in the Lurrus with a couple of Blood Moons and they're not a Lurrus deck anymore. I haven't seen it go the other way, where your starting deck is not a companion deck, but you board into one, which is super cool. So outside of that cool innovation, you basically have all of the Grixis cards in Legacy that you want to play in a deck, and then some more extra ones too. So you got your Brainstorm, Ponder, Preordain, then Portent and Thoughtscour have made the list here. Got your Fatal Push, Inquisition, Thoughtseize, then also Bloodchief's Thirst, Daze, Force of Negation, just all the things you'd expect. The wild ones include Tragic Lesson, draw 2 cards, then discard a card unless you return a land you control to its owner's hand. What else is wild? Tyrant Scorn is, you don't see it much anymore, but this is one of the few cards that can kill both Delver and Merit Lage. This was very popular for a while. Eliminate, great card. Mission Briefing, just kind of a Snapcaster Mage. Surveil 2, choose an instant or sorcery in your graveyard. You can cast it this turn. That's kind of like a Snapcaster Mage without the body, but comes with a little selection on top. Archmage's Charm, Modern All-Star. Plague Engineer right in the main deck. I'm very excited for Ethereal Forager. So before I just sit here and name all the cards in this deck, you see what's going on here. It's a Grixis mid-range control deck, and it's sometimes a Lutri deck. So let's go see how these games play out. Oh, before we get started, I almost missed this. Tasigur the Golden Fang. It's not a particularly playable legacy card. It is a 6-mana legendary creature that doesn't win the game on its own. The 4-mana activated ability will rarely ever happen, and when it does happen, it probably won't be very good. So I'm just going to turn this into a Gurmag Angler before we even start. Gurmag Angler is a very similar card. It's a delve threat. It has 1 more point of power, and it's not a legend, which is very important in a format full of Karakas. So I played a lot of Tasigur very early when Fate Reforged was first printed, and very quickly went from like 3 Tasigurs in our decks to like 2 Tasigurs and a Gurmag, then 1 Tasigur, 2 Gurmags, and then just 3 Gurmags because Tasigur is awful. So I'm going to make that switch, and now let's go get into those games. Alright, so we're on the play game 1. I guess I'm keeping this hand. Like, it doesn't have any cantrips, but the deck doesn't actually play that many, because like the singleton nature of the deck. Another fan in the chat. All right, so just let them know they're about to be in a video. I'm sure they'll make the joke that hope I don't mess up or no pressure, something. But anyway, like I was saying, this deck, suddenly regretting this keep. That's a good variation of that. So The Lutri decks, the biggest problems with them is that you lose what they call the cantrip cartel, the ponder, brainstorm, preordain options. Like it's just not you just lose that package because the whole point of those cards is that you can do you can play small amounts of threats and lands, and those cantrips tie it all together. But when you cut those cantrips, things get much worse. So I have Force of Negation. Let's see if I'm dead. I think Lutri is the worst card in my hand. Let's see, do you have a Veil of Summer or Flusterstorm or Reanimate to follow up the... Like, I am not in good shape here. They did say they regret this keep. Let's hope it's as bad as they think it is. Like, if they just follow up with Reanimate, I'm gonna lose. Wow, that was a pretty good draw. Opponent, when you're watching this, when it releases in the future, I'll have you know, this just happened. Cool thing though, Mission Briefing says that you may cast the card you choose from your graveyard. It doesn't say, like Snapcaster Mage gives flashback. All right, so I'm getting unmasked. Good thing I drew a counterspell because this is about to become relevant, the thing I'm describing. Mission Briefing says you may cast that card from the graveyard. Snapcaster says it gains flashback equal to its mana cost. Flashback is an alternate casting cost, and so is the pitching to a force. So you can't pay 2 alternate costs on the same spell. So that's why you can't give Force of Negation flashback with Snapcaster Mage and then pitch a blue card from your hand to cast it. You can, however, Mission Briefing and give this cast from your graveyard until end of turn and pitch a blue card from your hand. So I am still holding up Force of Negation right now. Though they have discarded Cabal Therapy. Oh god, Cling to Dust. That's a good draw. Opponent, I'm sorry, this is a singleton deck, and it doesn't look like it. Okay, so even if they draw the Reanimate, I just exile Grizzlebrand, and that's the game. I'm probably just going to exile Grizzlebrand for velocity anyway. So I gain 3 life from that. Alright, so I can... no, that takes 5 to escape. I'm not even close. But now I can Snapcaster Counterspell. So the shields are up pretty well here, and they don't even have a monster in the graveyard, even if they do draw a Reanimate spell. This is going to be tough for them to get out of. I just have to apply pressure now. Oh, I should have fetched before I preordained. That was loose. Good thing I am unpunished. Reanimate straight to the bottom, or eliminate straight to the bottom and hit my land drop. Like, if I preordained into 2 cards I wanted to keep, fetching first is much better. I probably should just snap preordain. So I'm going to fetch one of these. I'll keep the other one in case I find a brainstorm. Mystic Sanctuary. I could put Counterspell on top and then snap. Yeah, that looks good. All right, so Mystic Sanctuary, put Counterspell on top of the deck. Then I snap Preordain. That gives me a threat in play, a Counterspell in hand. Another Counterspell on top. So top, top, and now I have a threat also. We're in this game. I will draw this Force of Will. I have the option to shuffle it away, but being able to hardcast it is a big deal. Even if they can flashback this Cabal Therapy, or if they draw another one, they know the 2 cards in my hand, but the 2 cards in my hand are both counterspells. This looks like they're going to flashback Faithless Looting. I don't think this is the fight I want to fight. One, two, three, four, five. So I can counterspell and still pitch to a force. I have 2 counterspells to their 2 cards in hand. Oh wow, they didn't discard a monster. That's pretty bad for them. I will counterspell an Entomb, because having the monster in the graveyard turns on all the reanimation spells, which are currently dead draws. Alright, now let's begin the slow coast-to-coast grind here. Snapcaster is going to attack 10 times, and that's the plan. Alright, yeah, they're just scooping it up. The deck did not look like a singleton deck there. Alright, so what's good? Certainly not a Braid, but Flusterstorm, Extirpate, Surgical Extraction, all good cards here. Nile Spellbomb, of course. Angrath's Rampage can kill a Grizzlebrand once it's in play, but that's not the game I want to play too. Spell Snare can hit Animate Dead and Exhume, so I probably want that. What's not so good here? Lutri is actually pretty bad. I guess it's a threat though. Plague Engineer is not much of a threat. Gurmag Angler can actually win the game. Tragic Lesson. Salundi Vision. This card is actually pretty good at digging for specific cards in my 1-of deck. Fatal Push, bad. Bloodchief's Thirst, bad. Thought Scour is pretty risky, because I could scour myself, and they could reanimate one of my things. Eliminate, not good. I gotta make one more cut here. True Name Nemesis is medium. Lutri's medium. Drown on the Lock's pretty good. Every counterspell's got to stay in. I kind of love Merchant Scroll. Merchant Scroll is pretty slow, but I am into it. Far and Away, both of these are pretty good against resolved reanimation monsters. I mean, Jace is a 4-mana spell against this turn 1, turn 2 combo deck. Ethereal Forger might be a little slow, but being able to like 1-for-1 and then cast a threat and regrow them is pretty good. I think it might be Murderous Rider is the worst card left. Oh, that does also kill Grizzlebrand, kind of, in a very slow game. Alright, maybe it's Tragic Lesson. Alright, sorry Tragic Lesson. You are tragically not good enough to be in this deck. So, still not a Lutri deck because they are a combo deck. Having Surgical Extraction is pretty great. Let's see if I am dead. Getting Thought Seized would suck. Cabal Therapy is kind of fine. Alright, yep. I'm losing my Surgical here. Take it slow. Get this Daze online. And yeah, I'll just pass the turn here. I'm not sure if it matters if I play Underground Sea or Prismatic Vista. There are some like old versions of this deck that board into Blood Moon, but I don't think that's actually good, and I'm definitely not going to play around it. Discarded 2 reanimates. Wow, they missed on a monster. That's rough. Okay, now I can hold up Spell Snare and Daze, or Drown in the Lock and Daze. Yeah, I think I'm through the part of the game that's really dicey. That Faithless Looting missing on a monster and discarding 2 payoffs is a pretty big deal. Oh wow, now I can Inquisition them and also cast Search for Azcanta. Alright, so reanimate, Dark Ritual, animate dead, animate dead. Alright, so they can unmask themselves if they draw a creature to pay off. Alright, I'm gonna take the reanimate. And I am not gonna cast Search for Azcanta this turn. Let's see, if they unmask themselves, they have to pitch Animate Dead, or they probably pitch Dark Ritual, then cast Animate Dead, but they've seen the days, so they pitch Animate Dead to unmask themselves, discard Grizzlebrand, then they can Dark Ritual to get around. Yeah, it's safer to just leave up mana. Like next turn I can search for Azcanta with Spell Snare still up. And if they just unmask me, then that's great. Alright, no play. I like that too. Alright, Gurmag Angler is a big deal. That'll let me quickly pivot into the beatdown when it's time to do that. So there is not even a mountain in the main deck because this is mostly blue-black with just red in the sideboard. So I don't need to worry about getting that. I want blue mana available. I'm going to cast Search for Azcanta now. This will gain the most advantage over time and is the slowest to get online outside of that. So now they have enough cards. Let's see. If they have pitch, animate dead to unmask themselves, they lose Grizzlebrand. They have 3 cards left. Or if they drew a card that is not. Alright, I think that this Lotus Petal cuts off all of their options. Ooh, Faithless Looting is actually very good. Alright. So. Alright, okay, they're flashing back the Faithless Looting. That's fine. They use the Dark Ritual to do that. Now. Ooh, actually. If they discard a Grizzlebrand, unmask me. Oh no, I have Daze that can cover it. Oh, they pitch the unmask. That's rough. And one of the Animate Deads. Okay. Thought Seizing Me is not the worst here. They're probably gonna take. They're in kind of a tough spot. Like they could take Gurmag Angler and try to Animate Dead it, but then they're running into these wall of counterspells. And if they don't start working through the wall of counterspells, they're gonna die to Gurmag Angler. Got them kind of in the squeeze here. Yeah, it seems like they kept a disruptive hand that just didn't pay off. They cast Faithless Looting and flashed it back to draw 4 extra cards. None of them were Entomb or Grizzlebrand. This is an interesting choice. Yeah, it certainly looks like a coherent deck when you just play all of the fringe versions of the spells you'd want to play. In some ways, this is more satisfying to me because like you have to work harder to make sure your soft counters line up right, and you're not just always 2-for-1ing yourself. A lot of these counter spells are 1-for-1. Oh, taking Jace is interesting. That was the last one on my radar. Put Narset in your graveyard. Yes. Narset is not advancing my game plan right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I brainstorm into a black source, or not, whatever. Okay, Drown in the Lock can go away, and Archmage's Charm and Drown in the Lock can go away. I want to cast Gurmag Angler this turn. I have to figure out what the best way to do that is. So I think putting Archmage Charm and Cling to Dust on top in that order is the best way to do that. No, because I want to pitch. I think I probably want to pitch the Archmage Charm to force a negation. No, I'm gonna put back Cling and Drown. All right, that's my final answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Leaving Surgical in the graveyard for Snapcaster Mage or Mission Briefing. Oh, I forgot all about Search for Iskanta being able to mill a card. I did not consider that at all in my brainstorm calculations. But they're dead in 3 turns here, and they just didn't do anything. I'm sitting on this wall of counter spells. If they pass the turn again, I'll draw 2 with Archmage Charm. Yeah, there's still not a monster in the graveyard, even if they do have a handful of payoffs. Target player draws 2. I will choose me. I love Archmage's Charm. Just love the affair with that card. I want a Grand Prix playing that card. That might have something to do with it. It's also just really good. No, I will not put Force of Will in my graveyard against the combo deck. I'm going to play this in land mode. So right now they have to get through Double Force, Cling to Dust, and Spell Snare with their 4-card hand. I have 4 answers in hand, and they have 4 cards to beat my 4 answers with. And they need multiple pieces to resolve, both putting the monster in the graveyard and then getting it back. So I don't know if it's possible. Unmask targeting me. All right. So I could Drown in the Lock the Unmask. And then I still have Snare and Double Force. Or I guess it's only 1 force. Do I want to Drown this in the lock? I think so. Yeah, Drown the Unmask. They know about Smell Snare. They don't know about the Double Force. I am tapped out of black, though, so I can't Cling them to Dust anymore. Turns out that early turn where I fetched the second island instead of the first swamp was turned out. That's come up a couple turns in a row now that I wish I had double black, but I don't. But I guess if I did that, I wouldn't have been able to cast Archmage Charm last turn, so it's pretty close. No regrets. I think they're deep in the tank trying to figure out the math. Yeah, they said they didn't expect to see Spell Snare. Well, when you're a singleton deck, you go deep. Alright, I'm on the play in round 2 with a weirdly coherent hand. I'm going to keep this. I have Double Force of Will and a cantrip. I don't know what I'm playing against yet, so I'm not going to cast my Portent. Alright, good thing I did Important. I would not have guessed I was playing against a Flagstones of Trocaire Mox Diamond deck with Grasping Dunes. So is this like White Eldrazi, or is it some sort of lands deck? Alright, definitely some sort of lands deck. So where is the fight going to be? Do I fight over Exploration, or do I fight over their payoff spells? That might have been wrong. In fact, it very likely was wrong. I will go on record. They have Dark Depths. I'm in trouble. Mission briefing. What do you do? So now I have the choice to cast Portent or hold up Counterspell. I guess I have a Fistful of Force of Wills, so I might as well cast the Portent. So Portent is like a Ponder that you draw the card next turn for. Brainstorm, Delta, Preordain, do not shuffle. So I'm going to pass the turn and draw Brainstorm. I also fetched wrong, by the way. That polluted Delta can get basic Swamp, and the Scalding Tarn can't. So if I want to play on basic lands, I messed up. Uro. Yeah, Uro's okay. What I really don't want to see is Life from the Loam. Feel like I can eventually work to a place where I'm winning against most other things, but Life from the Loam with this exploration business is bad news. Wait, did I stack this backwards? Oh yeah, I guess I did put the Brainstorm on the bottom. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do, clearly. I'm going to cast this Preordain to get the Brainstorm now, since I've priced myself into that. I'm not ready for Tragic Lesson. Alright, holding up Counterspell. I can Brainstorm in the end step. If they don't do anything I need to counter. Another Thespian Stage. Alright, all dressed up with nowhere to go right now. I was about to say they didn't even crack the Waterlogged Grove, but then they did. Uh-oh. Hell no? No, 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 no. That's not a card you get. Alright, so Basic Swamp doesn't help me here. I have to get Underground Sea. And basically I can choose to ram into Wasteland now, try to overload it, or just ignore, or keep trying to play around it. And I'm going to keep trying to play around it wherever I can, especially with this Jace. Like if I top deck land right now, I'm going to feel pretty good. Hell yeah. Now we're doing it. So now I have Jace backed up by double Force of Will. And so I can plus targeting them, plus target me or Brainstorm are the options. I'm actually going to plus targeting them. Leave it on top because they have a fetch land. I want to incentivize them to fetch. Uh-oh, they didn't fall for it. I just gave them one of the better cards in their deck. That's alright. I play a lot of removal. So let's draw a removal spell. How about that? Not quite. Brainstorm with actual Brainstorm first. Jace, Narset, and other Jace, or Jace, Narset, and land. So I'm going to put back Mission Briefing in one of these forces. Then I'm going to fetch. I'm going to get Narset into play here. Jace is going to bounce Elvish Reclaimer, most likely. Wow, full brick. And let's get this out of here. So I tried to bait them into fetching, but they didn't bite, and I'm facing down a Elvish Reclaimer as a result. Alright, so they want red mana. Fair enough. Still not happening. Not on my watch. Pitching Jace Vryn's Prodigy because Force of Will still somehow pretty good here. Alright, so I have Narset plus Jace plus Draw Step to find a removal spell for this Reclaimer. Then I'm going to feel pretty good. Alright, found a removal spell. Cling to Dust. Hell yes. That's a good card. Force of Negation might be a better card, though. This is actually really close. I guess they are very similar. So I'm going to take the Cling to Dust, actually. Then I'm going to brainstorm with Jace, try to find another black source. Didn't get there, but that's okay. Plague Engineer and these are just all black cards. Plague Engineer is not good. Oh, I could Tyrant. I could Drown in the Lock or Tyrant Scorn the Elvish Reclaimer, and still Cling to Dust. Okay, yeah, that's way better. Figured it out, team. So Tyrant Scorn can kill Merit Lage. Drown in the Lock can stop. All right, I'm gonna go with Drown in the Lock on the Elvish Reclaimer because I have Force of Will, which replicates the effect of Drown in the Lock, but it does not replicate the effect of Tyrant Scorn, which is removing Merit Lage. Okay. Now let's figure out where this is going. If I get a couple turns with Jace around, this is going to be okay. All right, so I'm going to just immediately start plussing and try to get this game over. They didn't fall for it last time, but I have this covered. All right, yeah, I'll still put it on the bottom. I've learned my lesson. So if they draw a spell, I can Force of Will. If they don't draw a spell, I can Cling to Dust. I have a lot of cards in my graveyard to cling with. And the Cling is just to draw extra cards. Just passing the turn. No, nothing to see here, they say. All right, Cling, Valakut Exploration, because I want to draw cards. 1, 2, 3. Exile the lands and Force of Will. Just digging deeper. Merchant Scroll, hello. Big fan of you. Still just aggro-jacing them. No, keep it. Let's see if I can bait the fetch this time. All right, got him this time. The Tyrant Scorn has Merit Lage covered, so that's not even really devastating if they do have it. Okay, so they're building up to a Field of the Dead. That's why they're copying all these lands with different names. And Plague Engineer can name Zombie and at least slow that down. I can Murderous Rider that. All right, ride or die. I really wish Merchant Scroll was an instant. All right, keep attacking their deck. Yeah, let's put that one on the bottom. That is the card they're looking for. And a card I don't want them to have. I don't need to play the Murderous Rider because I'm going to win with Jace. That's my plan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that Field of the Dead would have been a little close for comfort. Cycling, Jeskai Triome. That's not exactly what they want to do, especially with Narset in play. Whoops. Savine's Reclamation. I will Cling to Dust the target in response. Alright, yeah, they're conceding to the Cling to Dust. Alright, not bad. Thank you, Narset. Actually got value against the non-blue deck. So now let's look at what this sideboard has to offer and figure out if we're going to be a Lutri deck or not. So I think Nile, Spellbomb, Surgical Extraction, and Extirpate are all pretty good. Angrath's Rampage, probably not so much. Basic Mountain might be something I want, but I'm not boarding in my red spells, so never mind, that doesn't matter. They can waste my Volcanic Islands all day if they want. I don't care. Flusterstorm, not that great. Spell Snare can slow down a Loam like one time, but it's not really what I'm looking for. I wish I had a Blood Moon in this sideboard. Or a Wasteland in the main deck. Or like any sort of interaction with Field of the Dead. Liliana the Last Hope is sort of a build your own Field of the Dead. Which I do like. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going to be a Lutri deck. So that means I board out the forces, 3 of the forces, and the Lutri. So I bring in these, and I have 1 more spot left. And I think that it would be funny to bounce their Thespian stage if they copy my islands again. But I think that's not what I want to do. I can Dead of Winter to try to slow down zombies in the mid-game. Or I can Liliana the Last Hope and try to make my own zombies. Oh, I guess, no, wait. Hydroblast targeting Valakut Exploration is a big deal. Like, that card is a problem, so that's what I'm going to do. I could bring in a Braid. They're likely to have some sort of artifact that I care about. What would I bring in if I bring in the Abrade? Or what would I cut? I'm off it. No Abrade. Let's go. Surprise, Lutri. Reveal. Suddenly. From the top rope. This hand's pretty strong. It deals with Loam very well and Uro. It can also counter a Valakut Exploration. I don't even know if they are a Loam deck, but I'd be kind of surprised if they're not. I'm going to play the Vista, because that one is the source of basic land in my deck. Yeah, if they just like jam Choke, I want to be ready for that. Alright, that's why I played the Vista. Uh-oh, gonna have to run a land into the Wasteland. I'm gonna play the Volcanic Island, because I don't actually have red spells in my deck. And if they want to waste me, I prefer they do it on that. There's not really a reason to waste in my end step. You can go to your draw step and figure out if you want to waste or not. And it's mostly the same thing. Alright, hitting the land drops is what I'm looking for. Picked up the other force. I have both of the forces that are in my deck in my hand right now, so should be pretty able to interact with them. I am not ready for a Merit Lage, though. There are not many cards in my deck that interact with Merit Lage. So they would have to crop rotation to get Dark Depths this turn, and I do have counter spells ready. Alright, cycling Triome. Yeah, if they just like play Dark Depths right now, I'm in trouble. Okay, good. That didn't happen. We know they play at least 2 of them. Alright, I got Fatal Push all day for this thing. Let's see if they got the Veil of Summer. But even if they do, I can Snap Push. Ooh, far and away. Alright, now I'm ready for a Merit Lage. I'm going to keep passing. I could put Lutri in my hand right now, and I think it's pretty safe to do, but I like leaving all my mana up. So it looks like they're copying something with Stage. Okay. Should have brought in the volcanic island, or the active volcano. That's what I meant. Alright, they're ready for Merit Lage. They're also ready for Lutri. Right, drawing a land was not bad there, so now I can put Lutri in my hand. And I'm still holding up far. And away. I'm holding up both of them. That's funny. Turn target creature, sacks a creature. Alright, so I can like bounce an Elvish Reclaimer and have them sack Merit Lage. Alright, I'm becoming less and less convinced that they could have Choke in their deck based on the fact that they have this tropical island, and they seem to be copying my islands pretty willy-nilly. Oh, that's cool. So the Plains comes into play tapped, and these cards don't make blue or green, so I think I'm safe. Oh, that's what they're doing. I was about to say, I'm pretty safe to extirpate this, but no, they're just build their own draw engine. So I pretty much have to find a Planeswalker very quickly here. Alright, so I can snap Fatal Push on the Reclaimer. Cling to Dust, not bad. Snapcaster Mage. Target Fatal Push. Do you have like crop rotation for Bajuka Bog? Nope. Get you out of here. Now I have a lot of graveyard hate. This Uro Caracas engine they have going is pretty strong. Rashad and Port too. Alright, there he is. Like I could force it and hit it with the extirpate, but I think that this draw engine is mostly okay somehow. Oh, they're just going in again. Okay, cool. That leaves them wide open to the Cling to Dust. So would I rather Cling or extirpate? I'm not going to fight over that. They already have so many lands. I think extirpate's probably better. Because I can save Cling to target a non-creature spell and draw a card out of it. And extirpate just zaps this jerk right out of here. I should wait for their draw step, technically. Red Elemental Blast. Alright, they only have the one Uro. So they have Reb and Skyclave Apparition in their hand. Uro's gone. And Tabernacle, Skyclave Apparition. Alright, they are definitely a loam deck. And Reclaimer are 2 depths. Okay. I think I can beat this. Didn't see a choke in there. Can strip the Skyclave Apparition. Or am I more worried about... I guess I could have copied that with Lutri. I'm actually going to take the Reb. I can beat a Skyclave Apparition way more than I can beat a Red Elemental Blast. Alright, now they're in top deck mode. Sack and lands to draw extra cards. I'm really looking for Planeswalker, like Jace can actually kill them. So I think that I want to Cling to Dust and copy it with Lutri in the end step. Just draw 2 extra cards, double my clock. Might as well get the Volcanic Island. So hold priority, exile, Elvish Spirit Guide, and I'm gonna copy this spell. All right, so this is targeting Reb, and Lutri is gonna target Wasteland. Ooh, Forager's fun. I'll probably Thought Scour myself with the land they try to tap. Yeah, that seems a good use of my mana. Land's good. Let's see if they bounce Lutri. Like, they have Caracas, but it's not really something you want to do. You also don't want to lose to an Otter. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, Whale full of spells. Oh no, they drew Reb. That's okay. I can Force of Negation that. And now I know their hand is just the Skyclave Apparition. And now we're in the beatdown mode. I have it backed up by Force of Will. They're top decking. This Whale full of spells. I am not going to counter this. It can't exile anything I care about. Like, Snapcaster still gets to attack. Okay. The first 2 weren't good. You can definitely have the third. Narset, welcome to the team. Alright, I'm going to attack with these 2 things. And I want, I think, Counterspell back. Alright, yeah, so they trade that off, and then I get a 3/3. They trade with my 2/1 to give me a 3/3. And Mystic Sanctuary can put Cling back on top. No, Force Negation's better, because that can stop any loam shenanigans before they begin. Narset stops them from drawing any extra cards. Put the Force in my hand. And they're done. On to the next one. All right, on the draw for round 3. My hand's got lands and cantrips in it. That's a keep. Once upon a time. Are you elves or are you some chalice deck? It could be Cloud Post, I suppose. Really wish there was a Blood Moon in the sideboard. That's a change I'd make. Oh, they're elves. I don't think this matchup is winnable at all. I basically am all in on my one of Plague Engineer. There is a Dead of Winter in the sideboard, but that's about all that's going on. I don't have a force, or you can't 1-for-1 removal this deck. So I will portent myself. I want all these cards. I can have them, it turns out. So I will stack it correctly this time, leaving the Force of Will on top, I hope, and do not shuffle the library. Alright, looks like I did it right. I drew the Force. So that'll at least keep me from dying this turn, unless they have the Allosaurus Shepherd. But I can set up a future turn where I bounce that with Brazen Borrower and counter the spell they think is uncounterable. But that only works if they go all in on some sort of early natural order. I could also just force this Birchler Ranger right now, which would cut off a lot of mana. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to pitch True Name Nemesis, which is basically Progenitus in this matchup, but it's still not something I want. I'm going to play Mystic Sanctuary. Just play it tapped, because I do want to get Narset into play. This is a matchup where that could matter. Yeah, forcing that Birchler Ranger and then they miss their land drop is a big deal. So if they go slow enough and I can pivot into some like actual win condition, then maybe 1-for-1 removal will pan out, but in general that's hard to do. I'm not going to fight over Quirion Ranger, though it does give them the land drop. If they cast Heritage Druid right now, I will brainstorm looking for an answer. Okay, Nettle Sentinel. What does that do for me? I'm not going to fight over that. I am going to Thought Scour them, because I do want to draw the land on top of my deck, and I want to keep my velocity moving forward. Thought Scour you. I don't think Elves plays anything that I would regret putting in their graveyard. Ooh, Craterhoof Behemoth, 1 down, 1 to go. It does suck that they now have 5 power in play, so Narset isn't reliable. Alright, a bunch of interaction. So that's kind of good. I'll put back... This is kind of tough. I guess I'll put back these 2 polluted deltas, because I'm going to want one of them. I will force almost anything. Especially Force of Negation. I will definitely Force of Negation any spell that it can target. And I will Force of Will that real hard. With extreme prejudice, as they say. Force of Will, pitching. It might just be Narset, as much as it hurts. No, it's not Narset, and here's why. I'm going to pitch Force of Negation, and then Brazen Borrower can bounce one of their elves. Then I can stick Narset on a turn where they can't pressure her. Guess we'll see how that goes. So if I... Yeah, there's not... I have to take the 5 for starters. I can Brazen Borrower to bounce one of these elves in the end step. Wirewood Symbiote. Okay, so I want to bounce one of the Nettle Sentinels now. Because if Symbiote comes into play, then they can fizzle my Brazen Borrower and I don't get the adventure. So I can play Narset, but I can't minus her. But at least I'm not dead. I could also minus her, try to find Fatal Push, which is a big deal. Okay, I'm going to fetch, because I know I don't want the top card of my deck, which is Blue to Delta. So I could find Fatal Push, and that's about it off of the Narset that I'd be excited about. Alright, I'm actually just... I should not have fetched, because now I'm going to try to snap Brainstorm in combat. And pressure some of these creatures. Like, I'll block the Symbiote if it attacks. So target Brainstorm. I'm going to go to blocks. Block here. Cast the Brainstorm. Put back these 2. Alright, that's less than ideal. Lutri is also something that can ambush in combat, though. If they have Heritage Druid right now, I could definitely lose. Alright, I'm at 5. That's scary. So if Lutri blocks, or if they fetch for Dryad Arbor, then I'm in a lot of trouble. Like, Lutri will have to trade off with Nettle Sentinel. I go to 1. And then, like, I know the top card of my deck is a land, so that doesn't even help. It's not like I can even draw into... Yeah, I'm just bleeding out to their go wide strat here. Didn't draw a single removal spell this game. And it turns out those are pretty important against the green creature deck. And it doesn't even matter if they, like, top deck Cradle and go for a natural Ura, because I can't beat that either. Yeah, okay. I'm just dead. You don't even have to do that. Just, we're good. Alright, Liliana's great. Dead of Winter's great. Abrade. Spell Snare has some value. Flusterstorm has some value. I guess Angrass Rampage. It can remove a choke if I get choked. What's not so good here? Mission Briefing doesn't seem great. Merchant Scroll, not great. I do want all the removal. Kinda do want to keep the Force of Wills in. Like, it's really bad against Allosaurus Shepherd, but I have a zillion ways to remove that card. Yeah, basically digging for my 1-of Plague Engineer is my only path to victory in this matchup. I think Cling to Dust can come out. And gaining 3 life might matter, but in general, that's not what I'm looking for. Far and Away could buy some time. Jace is a little slow, but not bad. True Name is slow. Tragic Lesson is not a good card. I mean, I see the end game where you like Tragic Lesson to pick up Mystic Sanctuary, then you Tragic Lesson again, and you keep doing that. But like that's straight out of Pauper, but that's not what I want to be doing. 2 more cards got to go. Maybe it's Baleful Strix. Like there's no Kolaghan's command to like go off and draw more cards. Though Strix is a cantripping way to interact with creatures early on. Strix might be better than Brazen Borrower. I actually just talked myself into that. Like Brazen Borrower does not line up well compared to all the other sweet removal spells that are in the deck. And Searcher's Canta is kind of a shitter. Okay, I've made my choices. Would like to play first. Basically doesn't get better than that, but they're probably going to have discard spells in after board. But if I can like counterspell to bridge the gap into turn 3 Liliana, then I'm in a good spot. I even have enough lands that I don't have to play the Mystic Sanctuary. Like, I want them to play a 1/1 this turn. Alright. Is my wish being granted? Then something I can counterspell on turn 2. Ooh, Inquisition is really good. Is it better than counterspell? That's actually a tough call. I'm gonna go with the counterspell. That sucks I drew that now instead of turn 1. If I could have curved Inquisition into counterspell into Liliana. Oh baby. But that was not meant to be. I'm gonna counterspell almost anything that they put onto this deck that is an Allosaurus Shepherd. Like what we saw in game 1 is them just sneaking under me. Like just getting in with their bunch of crappy creatures, and they never really did anything legacy power level. All right, so I'm going to counter this. I'm going to get basic island and underground sea. I need the sea so I can have double black for next turn. I like the, and I'm going to fetch basic swamp to try to play around choke a little bit. All right, so they don't have a second land drop. They had to Quirion Ranger their land up. That's good news. Ooh, just putting Heritage Druid straight into play like that. So this is kind of risky business. I guess because they missed their land drop, I can fetch for the Underground Sea fearlessly. Like I could Archmage's Charm to take control of Heritage Druid, which would probably fuck up their plan. So I'm gonna go after the Quirion Ranger, because they showed me that they didn't have a land drop last turn by bouncing this land. If they draw a land and go elf Heritage Druid stuff, I could lose. But if they don't draw the land and have 2 1-drops, this Liliana is going to take over pretty quick. Like next turn, I'll be able to Inquisition them and hold up Archmage's Charm while rebuying some other spell with Mystic Sanctuary. Okay. All right, this isn't so bad. Oh, if they have Cradle, it's bad again. All right, they didn't have Cradle. So, all right, this is interesting. I can Inquisition them, see what's going on, Archmage's Charm to steal one of their creatures, and then... Alright, so Allosaurus Shepherd, 2 Glimpses, and Abrupt Decay. I'm gonna take the Shep. No, I don't care about the Shepherd. I'm gonna take the Abrupt Decay. And then I'm gonna kill Birchlore Ranger. I'm gonna Mystic Sanctuary to put Inquisition of Kozilek on top of my deck. And then I'm going to gain control of target permanent that costs 1 or less. I'm not sure if that was better than away, making them sack a creature, but I think I can get up to far and away pretty quickly. And their hand doesn't really function right now. The double glimpse with only 1 creature and no mana, not very good. And whatever they don't cast this turn, they're going to lose. Like they want to jam Shepherd into before I Inquisition it, but they don't want to jam it into Liliana. It's kind of a mess here. Yeah, like their best draw was land, so they can at least draw 1 card off their Shepherd. Or that was just the test for Force of Will. I'm not going to bite. I've seen your hand. Okay, now what do we got? I don't think the plan changes. Like, I don't really see a way to speed up the Plague Engineer. Like, there's not like a Merchant Scroll for Mystical Tutor, for Vampiric Tutor, for Plague Engineer. Like, there's no like vintage tutor chains that I need to be thinking about. Maybe I do want Brazen Borrower on the draw, just as anything that interacts with the board at all. Just full stop. If it interacts with the board, I want it, which might be a reasonable place to be for this matchup. And I think it might be Solundi Vision. Look at your top 6 cards, reveal an instant or sorcery. Yeah, that's really slow. It's either Solundi Vision or True Name Nemesis. I guess I have to win the game somehow. Though I have Ethereal Forger and Jace that win the game somehow. But I do need to contest the board as well. Like, if I draw 4 removal spells, but they draw 6 1/1s, I lose that game, unless I'm contesting the board with creatures also. Holy shit, look at this hand. Please do not Thoughtseize me. Yeah, I basically could not have asked for a better hand than this, but if they Thoughtseize my Plague Engineer, I am in trouble because it's the only copy I play. Alright, green mana. We like seeing green mana. I'm just going to Bloodchief Thirst this thing right now on my turn. Because that's a sorcery. This is an easy thing to pick off. Save the Fatal Push for when I need to interact as an instant. Do I want to get... Yeah, I guess I have to get the Underground Sea. Like, I could play around Choke a little bit with the basic Swamp, but this Volcanic Island being my only blue source in hand kind of worrisome. Caracas only taps for colorless mana in the deck. Brainstorm's nice, Fatal Push really great, obviously. Just gotta make it to turn 3. Symbiote, I'll be happy to Fatal Push that. And Ranger, okay. Fetch land would be a great draw. Oh, Braid's pretty good too. So I could just Abrade Wirewood Symbiote right now. I think I'd rather Fatal Push though. Yeah, this is so I can leave up Brainstorm and dig for Force of Will if I need it. And I'm casting the removal on my turn so they don't get the mana off Cradle, because you can't respond to a land coming into play. So that there's a good chance I just denied them 1 mana, and denying them mana is how you beat them. Yup. Do you have the choke? Kinda want them to just flood the board with 1/1s this turn. Scavenging Ooze. Okay, so I can turn the corner on that thing pretty quickly. So maybe I just abrade it now while they only have 1 green available. Oh, okay, I can Brazen Borrow it and counter it later, basically at any time. What removes the most creatures from play right now? Like, what constricts this cradle the best is I guess the question. I think they will respond to to Plague Engineer by bouncing Quirion Ranger, and then I can name Insect, and that removes 2 creatures from play. Maybe I just pass here. This is actually a really tough spot. No, I'm actually going to abrade this right now before they can make it a 4/4. And that also denies the mana off Cradle. So shrink this thing and also Stone Rain. I would really like to catch them on a turn where they have a couple of things that die to Plague Engineer around. Like, my fear is they just jam Natural Order right now, because I'm not ready. Uh-oh, they're tapping mana. I guess I'm gonna have to Brainstorm. Come on, Force. Show me a Force. You're killing me, Smalls. Fuck my life. Okay, can't even cast Liliana. Put back Eliminate. So I might as well daze this. Because I don't have a land drop anyway. I haven't shown them Lutri, so though it's not like they're going to play around double daze by letting Natural Order get countered. Alright, so do they get Progenitus or Crater Hoof here? I might be able to beat a Crater Hoof still. Progenitus is going to be a lot harder. Oh, and I'm Brainstorm locked also, so I'm actually just dead to Progenitus. Yeah, okay. They just jammed and it worked. That literally came down to whether I had Force of Will this game or not, or Force of Negation, and I do not. So I can't do anything. GG, Elves. Next round. All right, I'm on the draw in round 4. The sand is reasonably interactive, so I'm on it. Got the old Thought Scour you, then Drown in the Lock you combo. There was a local player in Pittsburgh who built a modern deck around Drown in the Lock with 4 Thought Scours that just always targeted the opponent, which was good at turning on Drown in the Lock, but was really bad when your opponent is playing like KCI or Dredge or Uro or like any card that cares about the graveyard, which is a lot of modern decks. So I think the concept was a little bit warped, though. I do appreciate a good deck building experiment. All right, let's see what my opponent's up to. Casting Brainstorm. That's a thing you can do in this format. off of Snow-Covered Island. So this could be Delver, this could be Show and Tell, this could be Storm, could be Snowco. A lot of things this could still be. The good news is they have put 3 cards into their own graveyard very quickly. Alright, Underground Sea is not very common in Legacy these days. I'm feeling like I'm gonna want more counterspells or some discard in this matchup sooner than later. This definitely feels like a combo deck sculpting more than it feels like a blue deck, just hitting its land drops and stuff. So we'll see where this goes from here. This might be Doomsday. They did not shuffle their Ponder. So if I Thought Scour them, I will either spike a good card off of Ponder or just lose. So I'm going to Brainstorm. I'm going to hold the Thought Scour. If they are Doomsday, the Thought Scour could actually win the game. Just outright win the game. So I'm going to put back Bloodchief Thirst and probably Tyrant Scorn, because Drown in the Loch does a very similar thing. Alright, fetch for Underground Sea in the upkeep, draw. Now the choice is continue holding up counterspells or jam Narset, and I'm going to continue holding up counterspells. Like Narset gets jammed into Daze. Speaking of Daze, I could Daze this right now. I could also just fight it with Brazen Borrower in the future, so I'm going to let them have that. I would like to position Narset to a turn where Daze can protect her. So I think I want to snap Brainstorm in the end step here. Just do something in their end step to pressure them. If they have Hull Breacher, I lose. Uh-oh. Let's see. It's just ice fucking cold to Hull Breacher. Let's hope they don't have it, because I am going to cast the spell. Okay, they didn't have Hull Breacher, but I missed my land drop. I am now Brainstorm locked. Oh, that's not true. I can Thought Scour myself. So if I put True Name Nemesis and what other card do I not want? I kind of want the Fatal Push. I don't know. Maybe I don't. All right, yeah, if I put True Name Nemesis and Fatal Push on top, I can untap, Thought Scour myself. I've given up the killing my Doomsday opponent with Thought Scour plan. Alright, hit my land drop. That's what I was going for. I have Bloodchief Thirst that can answer an Oko. And right now I'm winning the damage race, so I'm just going to pass the turn with my handful of counterspells. It's another Coatl, okay. Plague Engineer on Snake would be pretty good here. That's actually a great draw. I'm very interested in finding. Is it Oko or is it Uro? Or is it Leovold, like it's 2015? I'll take my beats. I'm now behind again on the damage race. I hope they do go for something. Alright, they didn't. Cowards. I could Brazen Borrower in the end step just as a 3/1 creature. I'm gonna do that. I'm going to continue playing around. Like I'm not going to show them red mana if I don't have to. All right. If this resolves, I'm winning the damage race again. So it's something worth that they might want to fight over. If they have a third Coatl and can just trade off with it, fuck me running. So I could go for Narset, and I'm holding up all these counter spells. I'm going to make them interact with me in combat. All right, so, yep, Abrupt Decay on that instead of on Narset. That's what I'm looking for. It's the kind of exchange I was trying to bait. And then Narset, let's go. Oh, I get to daze a spell. This is going to be great. Boom. To the Shadow Realm with you. I'm going to get to counter another spell. Of course, I want to counter spell, not Drown in the Lock, because Drown in the Lock has more text. All right, so Narset's in. And I can activate her once and she can go to 1 from attacks, or I could just leave her in play. But they have shown me Abrupt Decay already, so I'm going to minus. Okay, Tyrant Scorn and Bloodchief's Thirst answer the both the Coatls, and Narset gets to hang out. Luckily, Death Touch does not universally apply to Planeswalkers yet. Leovold, the Emissary of Trest. I think countering this on the stack is better than trying to fight it on the ground. Though they don't draw extra cards, but neither do I. I don't know. That was kind of close. Closer than I care to admit. Alright, Bloodsheath Thirst. Kill this thing. Attack. Now the debate is, do I let Narset die to this? If I'm going to kill this to save Narset, I should do it now. Or do I worry about countering the Oko? And I'm just going to counter this now. Or kill this now. So here we are, Narset versus the world. Let's hope their hand is just 3 cantrips. And it's Leovold instead. That's not great. Ooh, Far and Away is good. So Narset will stop them from drawing the extra card from Leovold. And I can make them sack it. Okay, so they draw the extra card now. And that, or I guess I should just Far and Away. Cast with Fuse. It doesn't really matter. Choose target creature. Bounce Icefang Coatl and sacrifice Leovold. They're going to end up drawing 1 card either way. Far and Away targets them twice. That's messed up. I'm glad I have Narset. Yeah, I just have to hope that Force Blue card is not the 2 cards in their hand. If it is, I am very dead. Okay. My spell resolved. Now I know their hand is Icefang Coatl and some mysteries. Oh, is this Oko? Or yeah, Oko probably. Okay, Uro is just gain 3 life, but it's in the graveyard for next turn, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. This Narset's been great. Let's hope I can actually leverage it into a victory. The exile card would be a great draw. The feast or whatever that thing's called. I'm brain farting. But the exile Uro gain 3 life card is what I'm talking about. My brain is not working. All right, so I can attack because it is way better for me to trade with this thing than it is for Narset to lose die, and so they're going to get to kill Narset and bring back Uro this turn. She did a lot of work. Thank you for your service, Narset. Let's hope that Jace I'm able to untap. Oh no, white mana? When did this happen? Okay, so it looks like they are just full Snowco, full 4-color Snowco. And oh, they're even pondering before they Uro. Trying to hit that extra land drop, I guess. Yeah, my window to win this game is closing quickly. I'm not sure what can actually still win me this game. Because this Uro is a huge problem, and they have so many cards in the graveyard, it's just going to come back immediately. That Swords to Plowshares was fucked up. I really needed that. Jace. Okay, they've done many things. And concede. Yep, I'm not beating Uro. Alright, next game. Now I get Red Blast in my deck. Kind of. 2.5 Red Blasts. Dead of Winter, Abrade, Nile Spellbomb, Extirpate. I'm interested in all of those. Angrass Rampage, Abrade. Yeah, playing to the board is definitely going to be the way forward in this matchup. So they showed me 2 Leovolds and a bunch of Quaddles and Uro. I'm not sure if that's worth a Dead of Winter. I want to be a Lutri deck this time, so cut the 3 of the forces and Lutri. Flusterstorm has, like, it helps me win counter wars, but it's mostly not that great. Pretty medium on it. Merchant Scroll, medium on that. Selendi Vision, sorry. Tragic Lesson this is like exactly the matchup where Tragic Lesson could play, but I still don't think it's good enough. And gotta cut one more card, maybe Mission Briefing. Wait, I want Liliana too. Why did I miss her? Maybe Flusterstorm, because the emblem is pretty hard to beat. Daze is questionable. Like, they saw the Daze in game 1, so hopefully they'll respect it in game 2. But they're going to see Lutri and know that they only need to play around 1 Daze. I do still think Flusterstorm is better than Mission Briefing. Because the way that I'm going to win this game is by getting up under what they're doing. It's not going to be by entering the end game with them. Surgical might have been better than Extirpate if I'm only bringing in one or the other. Lutri Ambush. Surprise Otter. I'll keep this. It's a 1-lander, but it's got a Preordain, so I'm going to run with it. I'm going to fetch Underground Sea and Preordain, and I will keep any lands and get rid of anything that's not a land. Underground Sea. Hope you don't have Wasteland. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. One draw step to rule them all. If I draw a fetch land, I'm Gucci. If I don't draw any land, that's bad news. Yeah, so fetch land or Volcanic Island are the best draws in the deck. A land is the second best draw in the deck, just a blue, black, or Caracas land. Like, I'll take anything. And missing on a land drop is bad. Yikes. Yeah, drawing a 6-drop here is not what I wanted to do. So they can just, like, jam Sylvan Library here, and then I lose. Alright, deck, it's time. I saw 5 cards off the 2 draw steps in the preordain and missed on all of them. So I'm going to discard Far and Away. Like, I'll deal with that later. Like, this is all fuel for the Forager. I'll snap off a Flusterstorm on, like, Brainstorm or something. Like, if they cast a cantrip this turn, I'll attack it. Of course, they could also just, like, play Leovold, and I have no recourse. Uh-oh. Okay, somehow. Between Oko, Uro, and Leovold, that was the least horrible one they could cast against me, though going long, it's still a huge problem. Come on, deck. 6 cards now without seeing a land. Let's keep that count running. I think discarding Red Elemental Blast is the best choice now. The good news is, if I draw a land, I can cast Ethereal Forger immediately. I've discarded my way into the appropriate amount of delve. Black, green, green doesn't really cast anything. I think you need blue in there. Leovold is a nightmare. I can at least fight over an Oko. Nightmare! Yep, that's why I boarded in all these red blasts. Cool. I can at least extirpate this and I don't have to go to discard. Oh, got one out of their hand. So they have 2 red blasts and Abrupt Decay in their hand. They do have 3 Sylvan Libraries in the deck, 1 Leovold, 3 Okos. Alright, so they have Abrupt Decay, 2 Ribs. Okay. So I'm not going to be able to fight with... What am I even saying? Flusterstorm's quickly losing its value. Oh my god. Okay, so Abrupt Decay and 2 Red Elemental Blasts. I'm going to pass the turn and then eliminate on their upkeep. I guess I could have fetched and turned on Fatal Push, leaving up Red Blast, but that doesn't seem like what I want to do. Yeah, those 2 Red Blasts in hand are brutal against my Ethereal Forager. You have the other Leovold, you monster. You only play 2 of those. Did anyone tell you? And here they are both in hand, with Caracas to protect it. So I am well and truly fucked. That was the brainstorm I was looking for several turns ago. At least brainstorm's an easy pitch to force of negation until I can deal with this Leovold. I could also Reb Leovold and they bounce it with Caracas, and then I can sneak my Brainstorm in. Like, I suppose that's something that could happen. That Caracas is such a beating. Like, right there where they tapped out, or tapped low, would have been the time to Red Blast with Flusterstorm back up, but no, Caracas is too good. Alright, I guess I kind of have to crack this off. I know about the Caracas, but I do want to cast my Brainstorm. Yep, that's fine. I know. You got me. So if I Brainstorm, they're just going to easily Red Blast. But they only have one red source, so I think I want to Brainstorm on their turn just to make sure it resolves. Or do my best to make it resolve. I can't be sure of anything. Oh, they're back up to 8 cards in hand somehow from all the Leovold activations. Alright, so I'm going to Brainstorm now. Because if they fetch to Red Blast my Brainstorm, then they don't have the fetch to maximize their Ponder. Okay, Murderous Rider can in fact kill Leovold. I'm going to put back Ethereal Forger, and I'll put Vista on top, I guess, because I'm just going to draw it anyway. Unless they make me shuffle somehow. Yeah, this is obviously sucks. I probably could just concede. As the Leovold plus Caracas. I have no way to interact with Caracas. No Blood Moon, no Wasteland, no Pithing Needle. Just obviously being stuck on one land for 3 or 4 turns and then one more land since then. Not what I wanted. If that Brainstorm found the Force of Will, I guess I'm a Lutri deck now, so that's not even that likely. It's only 1, so that's fine. The Astrolabe also turns on the second Red Blast in their hand, so what can I do here? I'm trying to figure out what can be even done against this Caracas Leovold interaction. Like, I can fetch, like, I don't play a Stifle. No, I am actually just going to concede. I'm kind of Brainstorm locked. I can't break this up. I'm too far behind. Let's just go to the last round. I know when I'm beat. All right, I'm on the play with a whale of a hand. I'm going to keep this. Got to Force of Will. Got to Search for his Canta. Once again, the singleton nature of the deck. This is what a reasonable hand looks like. So my plan is to just jam Search for his Canta on turn 2 and probably protect it with Force of Will. I guess it depends on what they're doing, but that is the plan right now. If they indicate to me that they made a shark joke. That's good if they think I'm playing sharks. So I'll play Prismatic Vista, because that's a card that's in shark still. Polluted Delta's a little suspicious. So if they do something that indicates to me they're a combo deck, I might leave up Drown in the Lock instead of jamming Search for his Canta. But that remains to be seen. Alright, so Underground Sea Preordain. I think they're Doomsday. Okay. Now they are definitely a combo deck. Which leaves me to wonder, is it better to Drown in the Lock? Okay, yeah. Ethereal Forager will eventually be something I can reload with. So the one thing I was considering was, because I have Force of Will, is it better to jam Search for his Canta right now and get the value off of that? Like start accumulating value off of that? Or is it better to make sure I don't die? I think that was a playing to win versus playing not to lose line, and I played not to lose, which might prove to be a mistake. But we'll see. If they go off, if they like Dark Ritual this turn. Let's see. I think I should Drown in the Loch this. I'm not excited about it, because if they daze my Drown, then they get to strip the Force also. When I could just let it resolve, and then they have to pick one or the other, but then they know exactly what they're playing against. I think I would prefer to leave a little mystery in the world and cast Drown in the Loch. Like one of the big things I'm worried about is like if they daze Dark Ritual Doomsday, I mean that would be most of the cards left in their hand. Be a pretty specific line to punish me here, but it is a line that exists. It's really only daze that I'm worried about. If they force my Drown in the Loch, then that's a pretty reasonable exchange on raw cards for me anyway. Then I can jam my whale and hope that I'm not dead. But in the meantime, we'll see. I wonder if they're multi-queuing. This is taking a long time for them to let me resolve my fetch land. All right, I'm not Shark still. The jig is up. All right, they didn't have days. So I could fetch and shove my whale into play, but Narset changes the deal considerably. Narset is going to be very difficult for any combo deck to really navigate through, especially Doomsday. All right, so they're forcing Narset. I'm going to force back. Pitching my Search for Azcanta. If they had daze, they would have cast it last turn, but they definitely would daze now. So force. Wow, they would rather go Hellbent than face down an Narset. Deal. Yeah, they're definitely Doomsday. That's the only deck that plays Predict anymore. So the good news is we're about to have a Whale Tail. Instant or sorceries only, I believe. Yeah, so putting Narset under that doesn't do anything. But this Whale can win the game pretty quick if they don't top deck out of it right now. And they would need there are two cards in hand that have to be a Black Source and Doomsday. All right, Brainstorm's pretty good at fixing draws, as we know, because we're here playing Legacy. That largely, Predict. Okay, they're just drawing more cards. This is going to clear the Brainstorm cards, reload their hand a bit, but now I get to attack and put Drown in the Loch back in my hand. So I have Drown and Force of Negation, so I have 2 counter spells against their 3-card hand. Next turn it'll be 3 counter spells. I think I Drown in the Loch any spell this turn, because then next turn I can leave up Snap Drown. Maybe not that spell. So Drown, they probably have Force of Will or Flusterstorm, and then I can get them with the Force. Just by exiling a blue card from your hand. Don't mind if I do. All right. And we're having a Whale Tail, and the game is over. Yep, they're definitely Doomsday, confirmed. Doomsday's on the stack. So to beat Doomsday, what do I want to do? Flusterstorm, pretty good. I want my Red Blast in the deck. All right, so I just realized that a whale is also a sea creature. So we are a sea creature tribal here in Legacy. All right, cards that are bad include removal spells, Fatal Push, Eliminate, Cling to Dust. That's the name of that card I couldn't think of the name of last round. Bloodchief Thirst. So Drawn on the Locks, very good. Search for Scant is kind of slow. I like the Daze. Tragic Lesson, once again tragically cut from the deck. Do I want Extirpate and Surgical Extraction? That is a question. All the spells in their deck cost 1 or 3, I think. Like some, we saw Predict. Some builds have Baleful Strix. Some builds board into Dreadhorde Arcanist, but I'm gonna make them show me that before I respect it. So those 4 cards are out. Far and Away is out. Brazen Borrower, I like it as a flash threat. Plague Engineer basically doesn't do anything. Is Plague Engineer or True Name Nemesis worse, or are they basically the same? Maybe Murderous Rider is worse than both of them. Yeah, this looks like a reasonable deck to present. Oh, Tyrant Scorn is much worse than, like, Murderous Rider can at least attack and block. Scorn does not do any of that. And Liliana can be a card advantage engine, but I think I'd rather have Murderous Rider. Maybe I'd actually rather have Tragic Lesson than any of this. Tragic Lesson back in. Welcome back to the deck. All right, this is the deck I'm submitting. This one is slow and steady. So my choices are mulligan into a counterspell, or keep this knowing that they're going to cast a bunch of discard spells anyway. And I'm going to keep this knowing that they're going to cast discard spells anyway. If they just jam turn 1 YOLO Ritual Doomsday, they got me. Uh-oh. Okay, Duress, whatever. That takes Search for Azcanta, that's the only target. That's why I like keeping 7s. Like, I could have mulled to a 5 with Force of Will, and then I just lose it to Duress anyway. So now I have 6 more cards in hand, and I'm drawing live to all of my counter spells. Let's hope they don't have the turn 2. Alright, that's not a Dark Ritual. Not even close. Alright, now Strix gets to redraw. Ooh, that might be better. So if I don't play Strix right now, they will know 100% that I drew Red Elemental Blast, because they know I have the Strix, and why would I play a red source instead of casting Strix? So I'm going to conceal the information and hope that I don't die to a blue card right now. So they can Doomsday this turn. I wasn't going to be able to stop just a straight up Doomsday no matter what. Tasigur the Golden Fang. Remember what I said in the deck tech about Tasigur the Golden Fang. I think I want to Ponder first. Yeah, I'll take that Flusterstorm. Wop, 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 wop. Yeah, there's a reason that card doesn't get played in Legacy. So they Doomsday. I hope they don't have Flusterstorm backup. I guess they could also Dark Ritual and pay for the Flusterstorms. There's a couple things they could do here. Alright, looks like they just don't have any of it. So now I can play True Name Nemesis with... Alright, there are 2 Volcanic Islands in the deck. Let me just make sure before I do this wrong. Yes, 2 Volcanic Islands. Good. I would prefer... They haven't seen a red card yet, so I would prefer that they don't see a red card until it's too late. I don't think I fetched a red land in game 1. Like, they just don't even know that red is a thing. And now I will ambush them. Counter target blue spell. That's what the red blasts are for in this matchup. So now I'm hellbent, and they have Tasigur and 2 unknowns over there. Come on, spell. Ooh, Lutri. So Lutri can only counter my own spells, unfortunately. It would be nice if I could just dual caster mage my opponent's stuff, but that's not how this works. Alright, K command and discard a card. Alright, I have a lot of extra shitty cards in here, so that's fine. K command is bold out of Doomsday, though. That is a strong pivot. True Name Nemesis might be the hero we need. Though this, them finding cantrips while I'm just spinning my wheels is not exciting. And I do have the Caracas to go with my Lutri, so I could get a pretty serious engine going on here. The Ponder did not shuffle the library. Don't love that. Alright, I found Preordain. So I'm going to cast Preordain and just see if they respond. I'm going to hold the Lutri, because if they Red Blast it, I want a Lutri in response to Red Blast. There it is. It's like I've played this game before. So I can leave up Grixis mana and lose the Caracas. Yeah, I think that's worth doing. Bottom, top, lose my Preordain. Yeah, if I held priority, I would have lost the Preordain and the Lutri. Well, Lutri would be in play, but I wouldn't have gotten the copy. Just gotta hope I'm not dead right now. If I can untap with this force, I'll be feeling pretty good. Oh, is this Tasigur coming back? Of course it is. Oh, and they do get to activate him one time. Oh, no, they don't. Okay. Can they destroy Caracas? What's happening? Okay. They're activating it. What just... Oh, okay. They got a Baleful Strix back in their hand. Ooh, Merchant Scroll. I mean, I'm casting this. Just got to figure out what I'm getting with it. Surprise, this card's legal in Legacy. Oh, is it time for Tragic Lesson? Draw and unlock counterspell Archmage Charm. I'm kind of into Archmage Charm. Yeah, I'm going to take the Archmage Charm. Bounce Caracas, or bounce Tasker with Caracas, and attack with True Name Nemesis. I'm not letting them eat my Lutri in combat. No thank you. They are at the point where Doomsday kills them. They would lose 4 life if they cast Doomsday, and I can attack for 3. So Doomsday's off the table. And I'm not going to counter anything that doesn't remove True Name Nemesis or kill me. Those are the only cards I care about at this point. Three cards in hand, one of them's Tasigur. That's a good draw. Still just stay in the course here. So now I can cast Archmage Charm to counter a spell if I need to, and then I still have Force Bitching, or I can hardcast both. Yeah, I have 6 mana. I can hardcast Force of Negation and Archmage Charm. They're getting their beats in. The race is on. I'm not going to cast these spells. I will bounce Lutri, though. Because I'm not attacking with Lutri. I might as well get it back in my hand. Ooh, Thoughtseize, not bad. I'm going to attack with True Name Nemesis, and then Thoughtseize them. Hope they don't Veil of Summer me. That would be quite a blowout. Force of Will and Tasigur. And they are dead to True Name Nemesis. Like it's 2015. Okay. 3-2 with this OtterBox deck. Feels pretty good. The Elves matchup just came down to brainstorming into one of my 5 forces or not, and I missed. That one easily could have gone either way. That Doomsday matchup felt pretty good. That Snowco matchup felt really bad, but I did miss some land drops, though they are basically just a better version, a more focused version of what I'm trying to do. But thank you to everyone who participated in the brewing contest. I have now officially released the winner and the runner-up. This was the runner-up. This deck was a lot of fun. Really cool that you can board into being a Lutri deck if you want to. I finally got to attack with an Ethereal Forager. Never done that before. I'm glad I got to do it now. Even though Gurmag Angler did come up once on my side, and we got to see the Tasigur versus Karakas interaction going the other way, which I'm glad I was on the correct side of that. But sweet deck. Everyone, thanks for watching. We had a lot of fun games. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.